Okay, Mark, what made you think of Able Hands, a supernatural thriller to start with? And why a trilogy? That's quite the major undertaking.
Well, it didn't start out that way. It was a short story to begin with. Um, they didn't really want to label it as supernatural. It kind of fell under a few different genres, but um, I just had an idea one night that I pictured a carpenter. It was a carpenter, so you go with what you know. And he cuts himself really bad working in a shop one night, and then he grabs his hands and he's bleeding like crazy. So naturally, you scream and yell and everything else. So when he went to take a peek to see how bad the cut was, it had healed, despite all the blood everywhere, and he couldn't understand that. So suddenly, all these memories started jumping to the front of his mind, and he couldn't understand why. And it was a part of he had hidden abilities he wasn't even aware of. Um, that was it. That's where it started.
Okay, that's amazing, really. We'll talk more about the writing process later on, but right now, tell everyone what your goal is now that you're aware of this crowdfund, where you're at with the trilogy, and where it needs to go. The real need for crowdfunding is what I mentioned in the introduction to the story that everyone can read on the main page of the crowdfunding site. So before you do that, and just can you just show us the second book that you have handy there, so everybody's aware that you have published?
Guardian.
Okay. So where are you right now?
Well, the first two books, Halo Hands and Guardian, have been published. They're out there. The third novel is called Absolution. It's uh, it's finished, but it's not published yet. So this crowdfund uh, will help pay for the cost of publishing, but more so than that, there's a huge cost in marketing and promotion.
Yeah, so a basic view of what you ultimately wish to accomplish is to sell books to earn a living.
Yeah, I would like to be able to at least augment my income. Being on a disability pension, it's not a great way to live. But yeah, I had no thoughts of becoming rich and famous. Just to earn a living. That's it.
And I know you get some satisfaction out of writing this material. And I know it's difficult, but how are you surviving right now? Would you explain a little bit?
Uh, right now, and I have been for a number of years, surviving on a disability pension, which is equally sadly below poverty, and that's been the basics of it for a while. Um, Writing keeps me going, but that's the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay, that's a pretty fair and honest assessment. So, in order to sell books to the level of earning a living or augment your income, what needs to happen?
Well, so when the publishing actually, even before the book is released, a marketing campaign has to start to promote the book's arrival and the completion of the trilogy, right? So, um, and then once it's released, you continue with the marketing, and there's social media management, and then going to readings, book fairs, festivals, putting myself out there. But it's all an additional expense that's out of my reach. So um, the more the bigger the audience, the better it is. You increase your chances to sell books and hopefully, uh, ideally, get picked up by an agent, which I'm trying to get, or a traditional publisher. Um, even even the moon being picked up by a streaming service, having the story turned into a series, but it's a promotion. It's the cost of promotion and marketing and the expenses that go along with that. That will get the book from here to the wider audience where it can make sales. Like, you can't just put a book up for sale and cross your fingers. It just doesn't work like that. But I don't have the resources and the time and the energy to do what a marketer would do. I can't write and promote myself at the same time. So somebody else has to do that, and somebody else has to be paid for it.
So, so you obviously need to get the right exposure. And what will happen if we can raise the budget amount?
Well, it will automatically pay the publisher. The publishing process will start. I'll be able to search out the right marketing company. I've talked to a few at prices and things of that nature. It will literally pay for me to hire someone to deal with social media, to pay for my travel expenses to go from town to town, city to city, libraries, bookstores, do readings and signings, and I'm missing something.
Well, you know what? I do know you've gone as far as creating a website, and you have a social media presence for people to look at to help and be up to date with what you're at. Now, tell me, what'll happen if the desired amount isn't achieved?
That depends on how low the amount would be. It might be a case of being able to put a partial payment down towards publishing so it can at least start. Like, for example, a manuscript evaluation is a certain fee, and then that puts you right over to the copy editing phase, and everything it's a service company. So each piece along the way to get to the final publication and release is all portions. Like, so it could pay to get me a quarter of the way through, halfway through, it just not quite sure. But if it just doesn't happen, then it will be a long time seeing the book make it to market, make it to the public.
Okay, so it's, people can make a donation and purchase your books, and you have some sites as to where they can look at reviews and where they can purchase the 2 books that you have published.
Yeah, there's 2 reviews written up for Able Hands and Guardian on Prairie Books Review, and make a link available for everyone. You can go to Amazon, Indigo, Kobo, most of the major online retailers, and they have reviews and ratings of the books so far, and it's the reaction from the books that makes it a really good possibility, a good reason why to promote it in this fashion, to give it the best chance possible.
So, in closing, I would encourage everyone to take a look at the first 2 books, Able Hands and The Guardian, make a donation, and if you can, please help and make a donation so we can get the 3rd book published. So let's stop there for now. I think we covered a lot today. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm grateful. Thanks for doing this. Thank you to whoever donates. I'm truly grateful.
Thank you.